Today we're going to produce a dot-based art from an image. And so let's get started. This is a picture of Amelia Earhart, and we're going to choose the Wright brothers. And so I'm going to take this image, and we're going to bring it into GIMP. And so I copied it, and then I put it in here. We're going to make a square. And so I'm going to take the select tool, I'm going to press shift and just get his head, and press shift again. I'm going to get as much as I can of just his head. There we go. I think we're going to go for that. And we're going to go crop. And now I'm going to, we need this to have a certain number of pixels. Now, we're going to be bringing this, like I showed you, into, into Desmos. And there's a limited number of pixels you're going to deal with. And basically, you know, depending on what the value of darkness of the square, we're going to have a certain size circle. So there's a right here we have 30 by 30, and so 30 times 30 is 900. 900, you know, little circles is probably, or little points, is about what we can deal with. We could probably go more or less, but I'm going to stick with that. All right, so we're going to make this 30 by 30 image size, scale image, sorry. This one's 99, we're going to go to 30 scale. Now, you know, if we zoom in, you can see it's very pixelated, but I want it to be sharpened. So, you know, I could do colors, brightness, contrast, and, you know, if I was going really fancy and I had color, you know, I could do one channel for red and one channel for green and one channel for blue, but I'm not going to bother with that. I'm just going black and white today. So we're going to, instead of doing brightness, contrast, I'm going to do, I am going to do enhance, sharpen, unsharp mask, and that gives us, you know, I can adjust things here. I want his eyes to be fairly strong. I think I'm going to go for something like that. Okay, so click OK. All right, so there's my image. Now the nice thing about GIMP is you can export this. So this is, which of the Wright brothers is this? This is Orville Wright. Okay, so I'm going to export this file, export as. And instead of a PNG, the nice thing about GIMP is you can do, let's see, Orville Wright. And let's see, well, you can export it as an HTML. And this gives you something really kind of interesting. So let's check this out. Export as an HTML, and the options I have, I'm going to put a non-breaking space in each cell. So this is an HTML file. Border, you know, we don't need to have a border. We're going to have a border. It doesn't really matter. Border of 1, cell padding 0. Really, these parameters here don't matter. So we have export. Okay, so now I'm going to go and I'm going to open up that file. So let me see. Here we go. I think I exported it here. Where did I export it? Download. Documents, Orville, right there it is. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up actually in Chrome, and you can see that we have the document. What GIMP did is it exported it as a little table, and each cell has a background color of a certain, you know, color. So I'm actually going to copy. I'm going to grab this. I'm going to copy all these guys, all these cells. And I'm going to plop them into Excel. Create a new Excel file. I'm going to paste it right in here. Now you can see it looks a little weird. I'm going to zoom out with the scroll wheel and the control button. But I'm going to grab everything, and I'm going to make it so we have a square. We can see this guy right here. Okay, so what we need to do now is convert these, because we're going to ultimately put this into a Desmos point. So each of these are on a coordinate plane. So we have your X values and your Y values, and then we have the essentially the color values. I have it as a variable s. Okay, so and then we have each of the points in these lists being displayed. So this is a list. So we have the x value and the y value. So essentially 1, 1, or actually 1, -1 is going to be this point right here. Okay, and I'm going to show you how you get the size. Essentially, I've established that as size. Okay, but let's go back to our spreadsheet. So here we have Orville here, and we have 30 pixels by 30 pixels. Now, one thing we want to do is we want to convert each of these pixels over to some sort of decimal value. And right now, let's open up this file. I'm going to open this up in Notepad++. And you're going to see we have all the data here, but we have this is our hexadecimal code. So what we need to do is we need to change the hexadecimal code into some sort of decimal base value, because Desmos is not going to deal with hexadecimal. There's a trick that we can do to get that to happen. We're going to have to do a lot of different find and replaces, and I'm going to start by doing this. I'm going to get rid of all of essentially the HTML values we're going to get rid of. And then what we need to do is we're going to keep the table rows. So this is table rows and this is the cell. Okay, but I'm going to get rid of everything else. So the table rows we are going to convert to line breaks. Okay, so I'm going to do a find and replace, Control F, or edit, find and replace, or search, find and replace. And we're going to extend it to new. We need to find out what are we searching for to get rid of we need to get the TR, and we're going to convert TR to, well, actually, let's get rid of all of the line breaks first. We're going to get rid of all the line breaks. So in this image, or in this text file, all of the line breaks are line feeds, LFs. So we're going to find and replace the line feeds, and this code is N. So we're going to go /N, and we're just going to replace them with nothing. So there's no more line feeds. Okay, no more line feeds. And then we have all this white space. We're going to get rid of white space. And then replace all. There's still more white space, but we're going to get rid of, well, we'll get rid of that in a minute. So all of the TRs are going to be new. All of the TRs are going to be new line breaks. So we're going to do /r/n. Usually it's /r/n. So we're just going to do that. You could just do /n. It doesn't really matter. And I'm going to turn off the viewing of the end of line. I'm going to get rid of this first one. We don't really need that one. Okay, so at this point, we need to make sure each of these hex codes are, we don't need any of the HTML, so we're essentially going to get rid of all of that. But what we want to do is we want to put a tab between everything. So I'm going to highlight all of that. I'm going to put it in here, and I'm going to put a tab. And you'll see, because when you copy and paste this into Excel, you need to have tabs for each column. So /tab is, if we replace with /tab, we're going to get a tab. Replace all. Okay, so we're doing pretty well. Notice how we have a tab in here, and this is a tab too. We need to get rid of all this extraneous stuff, so I'm gonna keep the #. It really doesn't really matter. For now, I'm gonna do that and get rid of it all. So replace all with nothing. Still have the TRs to deal with, so we want to get rid of that with nothing. Okay, so now each row we have a hex color code all the way down to row 30. Notice that. So I'm going to, oops, we're going to get rid of this too. So I'm going to copy and paste all this guy. So copy And I'm going to bring it into our Excel spreadsheet and paste it 32. And you'll notice that all of the codes are now included in here. Now we could stretch them out so we can see them better, but you know, ultimately you can see there's a 0, there's a C3, C3. So you'll notice that the hex codes, this is the R and the G and the B value. Since our we should have probably made sure it was black and white. We should have made sure this mode was grayscale, but I think we're probably good to go. Let's see. Yeah, so FF, that's be the R value. That's the, so I think, yeah, I think this is going to work. So let's give it a shot. There's a lot of black, which is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to convert all of this, not to hex code, but to decimal base. So we need to, there's a really fancy little feature called hexadecimal. And so we can do that. But we got to get, the hexadecimal works only for like two digits. It doesn't work all that well. So I can't really, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to extract the first 2 digits from this. So how am I going to do that? The trick to do that is a function called mid. So I'm going to go mid equals mid. And it's going to get the data just from, we're going to start with 30 to A32. So equals mid A32. And what I want is I want to start at the second character, and I want to snag 2 characters. So let's see if this works. So notice how it gets OE, and that's exactly what I want. But so OE in hexadecimal is going to be a certain value. So we need to get that value. So here's the nice thing. I can just put hex to decimal, HEX to DEC. So it's going to convert the hex code to a decimal code. Whoops, let's see. Hex to decimal. Oh, it's giving me a pound sign because it's not seeing it all. There it is. Okay, so I'm going to take 14. I'm going to stretch it all the way over here. And what it does is it basically gets the code. It continues, if I click on this one, notice how it is AD32, and this is AD32. So now I'm going to grab all of these cells. Okay, let me extend this. I'm going to grab all these cells and I'm going to drag them down for 30. So we're going to go to 93. Okay, so this is the decimal codes for Orville Wright. Okay, so now we can bring this stuff, all this data, into our Desmos and get the sizes, because essentially these are sizes. Now 256 is going to be, 255 is actually going to be white, okay, but we can do an inverse thing to flip it out. But let's figure out how we do this. So so we can bring this code in. So I'm going to copy all of this. All right, so let me go to Notepad, and I'm just going to use Notepad as sort of a kind of a work area. So here are all of the decimal base codes for this. So what I'm going to do is get rid of all the line breaks, because I want a full list of numbers. I'm going to get rid of all the line breaks and all the tabs. Okay, so I'm going to do replace. We're going to replace it with a comma so we can make a list. Okay, but now we also want the line breaks, and if you remember, the line breaks originally are in. We'll see if that works. Replace all. Boom. Okay, so we have one line with all of these values. I'm not going to snag this last comma because I don't want that. So there's all the values, and then I am going to 30 times 30. There's 900 values there. Then I'm going to go to a new Desmos. I'm going to open up a new one. New blank graph. Now, once again, this is essentially it's the dark and light of each, but I'm going to make this, call it S for size. And then in Desmos, lists are done in brackets. So I'm going to make my brackets and then just paste them in here. So it says 930. That means I've gone one too many. So I need to get rid of 30 values. I'm just going to leave them there right now, though, because I did make a mistake. I could, you know, try to snag 30. Oops, too far. So I want exactly 900. There we go, 900. So I went one too far, but that's okay. Now, for our X and Y coordinates, we need the X and Y coordinates for each of those squares. So here's what we do. It's really pretty simple. What we do is, and we could do this on a new sheet to make it easier on us. 1, 2, so we need the X values, and we knew the X values are go this way, so we need to go all the way to 30. Okay, that's too far. And then we need all the values going down. So essentially, these are all the X values of each of the points for one row, but we need 30 rows. So we're going to go down to 30. Okay, so this is the X values. I'm just going to copy all of this and do the same thing I did before in Notepad. So I'm going to replace this. I'm going to find and replace all of the line breaks with a comma. Now I'm going to replace all of the tabs. I'm just going backwards this time with the commas. Now we have all of them here, and hopefully that's 900 of them. We'll see. So this is the X values. X1 equals brackets 900. Perfect. Okay, now we need the Y values. So we're going to do the Y values. And I'll just delete those. We don't need, oops, clear content. So in this case, we need the Y values. Now the Y values are different, of course. The Y values go 1, 2, 3, and so we're going to go down to 30. Now I'm going to go over 30. Uh-oh, I forgot how far 30 is. Well, let me remember. So I'm going to go, whoa. I didn't go far over here. Okay, so I'm going to make sure we have 30 columns. So I need to go all the way out to there. Okay, now I have 30 by 30. Okay, so I'm going to copy those. I'm going to go into Notepad, delete that. Okay, once again, I'm going to replace all the tabs with commas, and then all of the line breaks. Remember, it's strange that it's backwards usually, but R/N. There we go. Got them all. Just going to snag this. So this is our list of Y values. So I'm going to call this Y1. You can't call it Y by itself or also think it's a function. So I'm going to just call it Y1 equals brackets, boom, 900 elements. So we got 900 sizes, 900 X values, and 900 Y values. Okay, let's see what it looks like just so far. X1, comma, Y1. Now, you know, you're going to find, the first thing you're going to find is it doesn't show anything. So we need to establish that this dot size is going to be correlated with these guys here. And these dot sizes are going to be too big. Let's look. What is our largest dot size? Our largest dot size is going to be 255 because that's what the hexadecimal is going to go up to. So we need to make our dot size. Let's click on here. Dot size. We're going to call our dot size, and this is the dot size here. We could just call it S, but you see how they're too huge. So we're going to do dot size, and you know, we could just divide by 12, but you're going to see what happens. It doesn't look like Orville Wright, does it? So one of the keys here is it's inverted and upside down. Okay, so first of all, before we do this, let's invert the guy, or let's put it right side up. So I'm going to do my Y values as -1. And oh, you're starting to see it. See how it's a reversed Orville right now. The black is white and the white is black. So I have I have to figure out how to flip it. And you know, essentially what I'm going to do is subtract 255 from that S value, and there Orville starts to come forward. Now we want this to look like dots, so either we can make it big or we can divide by a different number so they're smaller. So I could do 10, or actually wrong direction. I could do 13, 15. I like it how it was. I like it like that. And I'm going to turn off. I'm going to turn off the x-axis and the grid. And then I think I have my image. There's Orville Wright, and I'm going to snip him. And I'm going to crop them up. And now I have my Orville Wright .art. A lot of steps and a lot of use of find and replace and a lot of spreadsheet tricks. So I look forward to seeing what you do as well.